to welcome you to our webinar with Mr. Sagar Nandi, and this is going to be a wonderful presentation by him, illustrating and kind of walking us through one of the newest tools that they've created at Superior Profit, and I'm very excited about it. If you have ever watched a webinar with us before or seen us in person, we always start off with this disclaimer. So let me get the legal stuff out of the way. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or information provided in connection with the company. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into it a little bit here. Mr. Sagar Nandi has been a partner of ours for some time. He is the creator of the Q Global by Superior Profit add-on that we're lucky enough to get with Metastock. Mr. Nandi has traveled around, taken many classes. He's been investing for years, and when it came down to it, he needed to create his own system. So after essentially doing more research and educating himself on the psychology of trading, what he's done is he's come up with a system that worked. Now, this wasn't open to the public for a very long time, but we were lucky enough at Metastock to be able to take his methodologies and input it into a system. Now, Q Global has been a very successful add-on of ours at Metastock, partly because of the reason, essentially that the community that stands behind this add-on. There's so much training, and whenever I talk about Sagar's products and his education, I always have to mention that there's just so much support, so much content, so much training that goes behind everything that he does. His website offers the majority of the information for free, which is pretty darn unique. Being able to watch training videos, being able to watch actual trades as they come across, and he posts those trades, being able to share them with the community, etc. It's a pretty amazing tool. But today, we're going to be talking about a little something different, a new tool. And my thoughts as a trader is to always be a complete trader, not just taking technical analysis into consideration, but also taking into account the fundamentals that can have the influence on the technical indicators and the price movement in general. The issue is a lot of times, especially with larger platforms, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Identifying what all of the fundamentals mean and being able to process it in a short period of time to help make your trading decision can be difficult, and that's why I'm very excited about the Q Vital tool that Sagar will be sharing with us today. So without further ado, Sagar, are you there?
Thanks to Hunter for the introduction, and thanks to Metastock for arranging this webinar. And certainly thanks to all of you for making time to join me today. I am Sagar Nandi, Chief Analyst and Trader at Superior Profit, a company based in Singapore. I will not take time to further introduce myself. Instead, if you are interested to know more about me, the company Superior Profit, or more importantly, how it can help you in your own investing, you may visit our website www.superiorprofit.co and click on the About menu. Before we begin, let me go through the standard disclaimer. This demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is designed to share information on Superior Profit's trading system. The information presented here should only be used by people who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Past performance is no guarantee of future return. Superior Profit is not an investment advisor. This session is not for any recommendation of buying or selling stock or any other instrument. Superior Profit will have no liability for any investment decision made by its audience. In today's topics, we will go through QVital Fundamental Analysis Tool. This is the complete, unambiguous and easy to use fundamental tool from Superior Profit. It runs on data from one of the most reliable platforms available to traders, that is Metastock Zenith, which is same as Thomson Reuters icon. For the background, I will explain why and how we came up with QVital. I will walk through different aspects of QVital in detail, and I will share few real-life use cases illustrating how global investors are using QVital. You may come up with new use cases depending on your specific investing style and need. Why we created QVital, bridging the gap. Broadly speaking, there are two groups of investors. One group uses fundamental analysis. They tend to say that technical analysis is gobbledygook, that people use technical analysis to see what they want to see. And there may be some truth in that when traders keep using different technical indicators for different stock decisions. The other group uses technical analysis. They believe that all market forces of significance will reflect on the chart and that there are repeatable chart patterns that may be used to trade profitably. The technical traders may consider fundamental analysis as looking in the rearview mirror, as complex and subjective. There may be some truth in that as well. When we see for the same stock, even for one as widely known as IBM, for example, different fundamental analysts have very different ratings, ranging from strong sell to strong buy and everything in between. Several years ago, we released Q Global, the complete, unambiguous and easy to use technical trading system. Afterwards, we created Q Edge, accessible from our website, the visual sector and industry analysis tool. And now we have created the QVital Fundamental Analyst. Using these Q systems, Superior Profit investors and traders like to take the best of all worlds. They may use Q Edge to see which sector or industry is moving in favor, use QVital Fundamental Analysis to find strong stocks in that industry, and then use Q Global Technical Analysis to pinpoint the exact entry price. With QVital release, we believe we have been successful in bridging the gap to a very large extent. How exactly did we come up with QVital? First, we identified the people who regularly use fundamental analysis: portfolio managers, individual investors, and conglomerate CFOs. They all had different perspectives and needs from fundamental analysis. Portfolio managers needed to identify when a sector or industry is out of favor or in favor. They wanted to know which stocks are undervalued and which are overvalued. They were ready to buy stocks at right valuation even if the price was going down, and they obviously had to track a large number of stocks together, which could be related in some complex manner. Portfolio managers wanted steady return. They were not looking for maximizing return if that was not sustainable. Their view was different from individual investors. Individual investors were looking for stocks which are fundamentally strong but were starting to go up or were breaking out. They were not happy to invest in stocks that were still going down. For this, they needed some kind of price performance analysis which would show them which stock in a peer group was outperforming the rest. They were looking for profit maximization, and hence they wanted to find stocks that move faster. For example, those with high beta, and also stocks with potential short squeeze. Sometimes they wanted to invest in dividend-paying stocks. Conglomerate CFOs who regularly made decisions on acquisitions and spin-offs told they wanted to have only a few parameters. For them, reliability of financial results was of high importance. So was debt solvency parameters. For all these three groups, long-term, medium-term company performance and management efficiency parameters were also important. As we received the input from these groups, we appreciated the wisdom behind their requirements. After a long period of trial and error, back and forth discussion with the focus groups, we finally released Q Vital, and it met all the requirements, making it a complete system. And in keeping with Q line of products, we made it visual, unambiguous, and easy to use. Let us now walk through the Q Vital system and see how it meets all the requirements mentioned above. We will start with the concept of peer group. Remember the requirement to track a number of related stocks. We call it peer group. It is a group of related stocks. The relation could be that they belong to the same industry, sector, or country, or any other condition that you have in mind to create your own list. It may be created automatically using Q Vital, manually by you, or a combination of both. Let us go to Q Vital. We devised a mechanism so that all you need to do is choose a root stock. Let's say Apple Computers, AAPL.O, and the kind of peer group that you want to analyze. Let's say sector. And then click on the peer retrieve button. Q Vital will create the peer group for you with all the stocks belonging to the sector technology, the same sector of Apple Computers. Along with the peer list, Q Vital also retrieves some information on the root stock, like company name, ticker symbol, next earnings date, stock price, average volume, whether recent period volume is increasing or decreasing, market cap, alpha showing whether the stock is outperforming, beta showing the volatility of the stock relative to the market, earnings per share showing if the company is making money, and dividend yield showing if the company is paying dividend. It also provides description of the company's business and its industry, sector, and country. If you want to change the relation to industry, you may simply select it from the drop down, click on the peer button, and QVital will retrieve the peer stocks belonging to the same industry. Now all the peer lists belong to the industry computer hardware. You can also add to the list by adding stocks in the manual list column. Let's add BlackBerry. The final QVital stock list is generated by combining the auto-generated peer list with the manually entered stock list. Or you could remove the root stock altogether and enter or import your own list. You could use this manual list feature to enter the stocks you receive from a subscription service or a list that you create yourself, like a list of high beta stocks, high dividend paying stocks, stocks in industry of your expertise, stocks that you are holding, or stocks that are generated from scanners of Q Global Technical Trading System. Next, we will calculate the QVital fundamental of the peer group. Let us do that for a biotech company. Let's choose a lesser known company, Merrimack. MACK is the symbol. Choose industry as the relation, retrieve its peers, and click on the calculator button to do the QVital calculations. It shows the status of calculation in this cell here. Takes about 5 seconds to retrieve all the fundamental information of these 25 stocks. Do the QVital calculation and populate the other tabs with visual actionable information. We will go through these tabs one by one, starting with basic information. This tab provides some basic information on the peer group like name, ticker, market cap, etc. Let's go to QVital to understand them in more detail. Ticker is the trading symbol. For USA, it is usually similar to the Thomson Reuters symbol, which is in column A, but not so for other countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, etc. So we listed the ticker symbol here to help you identify the stock on your brokerage platform. Some people prefer to invest in stocks with a certain market cap range, a minimum stock price to avoid speculative penny stocks, and stocks with enough volume to ensure reasonable bid-ask spread. We have included this information here. If you are looking for short squeeze, you may use the short interest percentage column to locate potential trades. And for dividend play, you may use the dividend yield percentage column. EPS shows whether the company is making money or not. You may use the country filter to focus on the stocks of the country where you invest. This country filter is provided in all the tabs of QVital. What about the heat map? The heat map is designed to instantly focus on preferred stock. So to identify possible short squeeze, just look at the cell with green background. Instantly we can see that Merrimack with the symbol MACK and LGND, Ligand Pharmaceutical, have the biggest short interests and therefore are possible short squeeze trade opportunities. For dividend play, similarly, look for the stock with green color under dividend yield. Amgen and Gilead are the biggest dividend payers in this list. Pretty useful, isn't it? We have many more actionable information in the next tab, Price Performance. This tab provides price performance as desired by individual investors across multiple dimensions that is easily recognizable and that helps to identify actionable patterns. You may review a stock's performance in isolation relative to its peer group or both. Let's have a look at this tab. The first two columns show how far the stocks are from 52-week highs and 52-week lows. At the right end, we can see the price performance across last 12 monthly periods. And we have also provided more detailed price performance for the most recent times across last 10 days, 5 days, 2 days and 1 day. How to read the monthly price performance table? Looking from left to right, if the percentage values decline, like in the case of Merrimack, then the stock has declined between those periods. We can see that Merrimack has declined steadily for last 1 year. At the same time, we see that in the recent period also Merrimack declined. However, over last 10 days it went up by 9%. We may watch this information to find out stocks that were declining for a long time, and in case the recent period performances are shown in green color, that will indicate that it is starting to turn around, giving us possible opportunities to catch the bottom of a stock. What about finding a stock that is steadily increasing? Look for monthly performance values that are steadily going up from month 1 to month 12, as in the case of EXAS, Exact Sciences. That is about reading the percentage values in the monthly performance columns. What about the heat map? The heat map shows which stock is strong and which one is weak relative to peers. Green means strong, red is weak. We can see overall Exact Sciences is the strongest stock relative to its peers for the 12 monthly review periods. It also is very close to 52-week high, just about 8% below the 52-week high. You may use this information in many different ways. If you are a breakout trader, you may look for stocks near 52-week high that are showing strength in recent period. Exact Science went up 10% in last 10 days, 4.5% in last 2 days, and has been strong for long time, over last 12 months. So this may be one stock that you may investigate further using Q Global technical charts to see if there is a potential breakout trade opportunity of a company that is fundamentally very strong, at least in terms of price performance. We will look at other fundamental parameters later in the subsequent tabs. If you are looking for a stock that has declined for a long time and now showing strength, then we would like to have a series of red color in the earlier monthly periods turning yellow and green in the recent periods. We don't seem to find any suitable opportunity for such bottom catching trade from this list, and we can recognize that fact from the heat map quite easily. Those were some ways that you could use Q-Vital price performance for investment decisions. You may find more ways that match your trading style. Let us move to the next tab, Fundamental Info. It contains most of the fundamental info that was sought by the focus groups. This tab contains raw fundamental data, including those related to valuation, growth, management efficiency, debt solvency, etc. Let us use a new stock, let's say GNC, a consumer non-cyclical stock, as the root stock and look at its fundamentals. We go back to the Input tab, choose the root stock as GNC, retrieve the industry peers, and once we have the peer group, click on the calculator button to calculate the Q-Vital fundamentals. Let's have a look at the Fundamental Info tab. The first three columns, EV, EBITDA, PE and PBR, they are related to valuation of the stock. Green is good, red is overpriced, yellow is neutral, as usual. EPS and revenue growth, here. EPS and revenue growth over 5 and 3 years show the long-term and medium-term growth of the stock. Operating margin, ROE, return on equity and return on asset, show short-term growth. ROE and ROA also represents management efficiency. Quick ratio, current ratio and debt to equity percentage evaluates short and long-term debt solvency of the stock. Now if we look at the growth parameters, EPS and revenue growth, and the valuation parameters, EV, EBITDA, PE and PBR, usually a stock has either high growth or good valuation. A stock with both high growth as well as good valuation is not common. Using the heat map, GNC immediately pops out as the biggest dividend payer. If we look for best growth stock in terms of EPS and revenue growth over 5 and 3 years, from the heat map we can see overall this stock KR, that is Kroger, is the strongest one. And the most optimally valued stock in terms of valuation, let's say EV/EBITDA, is SVU, that is super value. Once again, the heat map enables us to instantly focus on the preferred stock across different fundamental parameters. From this fundamental information and heat map, we immediately saw GNC may be a potential investment opportunity. It has high dividend, EV/EBITDA is also green, so it is valued nicely relative to its peers, and interestingly it has very high short interest. So it may be traded as a dividend play while at the same time looking for a possible sharp up move fueled by short covering. Of course, we would always like to pinpoint the exact entry point based on Q Global technical charts. Let us have a look at GNC using Q Global weekly chart. We can see clearly from this weekly backdrop template that GNC had a large drop. However, since the beginning of 2017, when it also displayed this bullish headwind, possible reversal signal, it is consolidating and moving sideways. And at the right edge, it is breaking out of the red color declining memory resistance line. These are automatically drawn smart trend lines that may come from few weeks back, few days back to few months back. Sometimes they may also be drawn from many years back, like in the case of this memory resistance line. So we see that GNC, looking at fundamental, looking at technical, seems to be a good trade opportunity across multiple dimensions in terms of its valuation, EV/EBITDA, in terms of its dividend payout, very high percentage, possibility of short squeeze, and on technical chart, formation of a base and breakout from that. The last step that we may take before taking the trade on GNC is to look at its industry and sector and see if the industry is also moving in favor. I will not do that today. However, I will point you to the place where you can check the information. From our home page, if you click on sector industry, you will see the sector and below the industry heat map and ranking table, analyzing 10 broad market sectors and 160 industry groups. Reading these tables are easy. Cyan means strong, magenta means weak. So if we are going to look for a long position for long-term investing, we are going to look for an industry group like clothing and accessories. which was magenta, that is weak, for many months in the past and slowly but surely turning cyan, that is stronger in the recent period. If we find the same information about the industry to which GNC belongs, then we will have a case where the fundamentals, the technicals and the industry outlook are aligned in favor of the trend. We have one more tab in QVital that uses all the fundamentals we discussed so far and some additional data to assign scores across multiple directions. Often traders look at the scorecard first and only if required drill down to the other tabs that we looked at, like basic information, fundamental information. For looking at the scoring tab, let us use a different rootstock. Let's choose a stock, staples. Retrieve its pairs and calculate the QVital fundamentals by clicking the calculator button. It takes about 5 seconds to do the calculation and populate all the other tabs. The scoring tab is a comprehensive fundamental scorecard that does ranking across multiple dimensions. It also has heat map that helps to identify investment opportunities objectively in matter of minutes. Let us have a look at the scoring tab. Remember the CFO focus group's requirement of knowing the earnings reliability of a stock. Well, that is in the first column. It ranks the stocks in a range of 1 to 100. Higher values represent stronger stocks. However, we may simply look at the heat map. Green is good. Next two columns, relative value and internal value, are valuation scores. Internal value is based on earnings projection, dividend projection, etc. and relative valuation is based on a number of valuation ratios. One thing to note is that the first three columns, assessing the earnings reliability and relative and internal valuation, they rank the stocks across broader universe, not only the peer group that is displayed in the first column. This way, even if you have only one stock to evaluate, you may check if it is having earnings reliability and if it is optimally valued. Rest of the columns rank the stocks within the peer group. Again, the heat map is used as usual. Green is good. Let us compare and contrast the top two stocks, SPLS, that is Staples, and ULTA, Alta. Remember, I mentioned earlier that it is not common to find a stock with high growth and good valuation at the same time. We can see that in the real world from these two stocks. If we focus on the growth columns, then we can see that Staples has very poor growth relative to the peers. All we need to do is just look at the color, and if it is predominantly red, then we know that it has poor growth inside the peer group. This poor growth might have caused the stock's price to decline, and at the current price, Staples is at an optimal valuation, shown by the relative value, internal value, EV/EBITDA, all being with green color. ULTA is exactly the opposite. In terms of EPS and revenue growth, we can instantly see that it is the strongest in this peer group, and that probably has already led the price to go up, and it is not optimally valued anymore. It is overpriced, as we can see from the red color cells for the valuation columns. Note that the sixth column, PBR, is also a valuation criteria. However, it is to be used more for banks. For non-financial companies, we need to use only the other valuation criteria, that is relative value, internal value, EV/EBITDA, and PE. And across those parameters, clearly Alta is overpriced, Staples is optimally priced. And if we are looking for a stock with medium valuation, then this company, PRTY, with yellow color in the valuation parameters, will be neither overpriced nor at a very low price relative to its performance. We can decipher all these in matter of minutes, or maybe even faster, using the heat map. You can also easily identify, other than high growth stocks and optimal valuation stocks, possible short squeezes. We can immediately see that RCII has the biggest score on short interest, and therefore if we are looking for short squeeze opportunities, we may check out these stocks using Q Global technical analysis. What about high beta stocks? High beta stocks tend to move faster, and if we are looking for a high beta stock, even without knowing the exact beta value, just from the score, or maybe only from the color coding, we know that TCS is the most volatile stock. We can also use it for pre-earnings plays in creative way. See the earnings reliability score. For both Staples and Alta, the scores are green, therefore showing that their earnings are very reliable, though their growth and valuation values are very different. On the other hand, TCS has very unreliable or unpredictable earnings. How can that be used? Sometimes traders like to trade with option setup like Iron Condor just before the earnings of a stock where the option values are inflated. They expect the stock will remain inside a defined range
and thereby maximize their profit. That may be a feasible trading philosophy. If you are doing that, then you may be more willing to do that on stocks that has reliable earnings and not for stocks that has very unreliable earnings. Because for the stocks with unreliable earnings, it may move suddenly very high or very low, going beyond the safe region of the iron condor options trading setup. There may be many other applications of this scorecard, depending on your own investing style and need. In summary, QVital enables us to either automatically, based on industry, sector or country, or on our own, create a peer group that analyze the fundamentals across many dimensions, including basic info, price performance and fundamentals. And it consolidates all this information in easy to interpret scorecard. You can probably see that with QVital we could meet all the requirements of our focus groups. While walking through the tabs, we have already seen several ways of making investing decisions using QVital. Let me go through few more real-life use cases. The first use case I want to describe is the one that one of our investors in Singapore used first once he got hold of QVital. He had a number of long-term investment holdings in his retirement account. He simply input all his long-term investments in QVital to see if they were fundamentally strong. One stock, Singapore Post, stood out to be with poor growth, overpriced, and with unreliable earnings. Let us have a look at this stock. We go to the Input tab, choose the root stock, Singapore Post, retrieve its industry peers, and then calculate the QVital statistics. It has updated the data. As I mentioned, instead of going through the other tabs, often our investors go to the scoring tab first. And if we do that instantly, we can see that Singapore Post has very poor earnings reliability. It is overpriced relative to whatever money it is making or not making. And it has poor growth, at least in terms of earnings per share. Revenue growth seems to be okay relative to this peer group. Overall, looking at earnings reliability, valuation metrics, and the growth, the stock didn't look like one that one would like to hold for the long term in one's retirement account, isn't it? Our investor felt the same and he exited this stock. Once Singapore Post position was closed, he of course wanted to look for better opportunity. And that is our use case 2. One way to look for better opportunity is to look for bottom fishing stocks. For that, he went to Q Global, opened the exploration programs, choose Q Pendulum Low, and ran it on the stocks listed in Singapore that are liquid enough. once he received these liquid stocks that were selling at a low price, he simply cut-pasted the result in QVital to see which one of them were optimally priced and fundamentally strong. And one stock, Sino Grandness SOGF, stood out as one. Let us have a look at this stock. We go to Input tab, choose the root stock, retrieve the pairs, calculate the QVital fundamentals. We can see that Sino Grandness Food Industry Group Limited with the Reuters symbol of SOGF has a very different ticker symbol. Remember, I mentioned that ticker symbols in other countries outside US can be very different from the stock symbol. That is the reason we included it in the Input tab and also in the Basic Info tab for all the stocks in the peer group. Let us directly go to the Scoring tab. Again, instantly we can see that it doesn't have growth information, but it is very optimally priced. This is again one case we see that it is difficult, if not impossible, to have a stock which has high growth and optimal price at the same time. Just like we contrasted Staples with Alta, here also we see the contrast between SOGF, a company based in Singapore, and 0354.HK, that's a company based in Hong Kong. That would be Vita Soy International Holding. So Vita Soy has solid growth, however, it is poorly valued. So this investor was looking for a bottom catching opportunity, and SOGF seemed to be a possible candidate. So he plotted it using Q Global Technical Trading System. And let me do that now. SOGF clearly had a big drop. However, since about December 2016, when it displayed the bullish headwind reversal signal, it is not able to go down. Slowly it is going up. At the right edge of the chart, it has a bullish shaped candle with lower tail and also bullish color, that is cyan. So it did seem a lot better than Singapore Post to him, and he invested his money on this stock. You may do the same in the country where you invest. You may use Q Global's Pendulum Explorer to find the stocks that are selling at low price, input them in QVital, pick up the strongest ones with good earnings reliability and optimal pricing, do a peer analysis on that stock and see if it is meeting all the requirements for your long-term investment opportunity. If you are looking for breakout trades for long-term investment, then instead of running Q Pendulum Low Scanner, you could run Q Pendulum High. This should return all the stocks that are at a high price, showing that they must be very strong now, and then again put them in QVital to find the ones that are fundamentally strong and look for possible breakout opportunities. Let us go to another use case. This third use case, we will look into one top-down analysis. The case about finding SOGF, Sinogrannes, was bottom-up analysis where we started looking at the stock, then looked at fundamental, and we might have looked at the industry sector as the last step. And in this last use case, we are going to look for top-down analysis. This was also a real-life case that was shared in one of the recent weekly market roundups. A few weeks ago, we observed that distillers and vintners industry was starting to weaken after being strong for long time. Let us have a look at that industry now from QEdge sector and industry analysis on our website. You may actually download these tables by clicking here, or you may simply search for the industry you are looking for. If we type distillers, we can see the industry group distillers and vintners for the most recent month has a poor rank indicated by the magenta background color, and clearly for many months before current month it was strong, shown by cyan color. So we saw from top-down analysis starting with industry that we have one where it is clearly moving out of favor. Our next step was to look for a stock in this industry that was overpriced, and we found one in Australia market, that was Treasury Wine Australia. Let's have a look at that stock. The Thomson Reuters symbols is TWE, X for Australia. Retrieve its pairs, do the Q vital calculation. Again, we may straight go to the scoring tab, and instantly we can see from the valuation columns that it is very poorly priced. So we looked at the industry weakness, we saw that this stock was overpriced. Our last step was to look at the stock using Q Global technical charts, and I will do that now. We were doing the analysis at this point around 20th June, and we saw that it was at a triple top. It had a bearish headwind signal which formed the double top, and then at the triple top we had the bear release down arrow. In superior profit, if we go to our website homepage, you will see we have 4 different trade setups. Only 4. One is go with flow for trending market, one is headwind for reversing market, one is box for sidewise market or for markets with double top, triple top, etc., and bounce trade for exhausting market. If we click on any of them, it will open the page with a set of unambiguous checklist on daily chart and weekly Q chart that we can assess easily and decide if a valid trade setup exists at the right edge of the chart. Applying that trade setup, when this bear release signal appeared on 20th June, we had a sidewise market box short trade setup. This was a swing trade setup which would exit profitably in the next few days. In this example, we included fundamental analysis using QVital, technical analysis using QGlobal, and industry analysis using QEdge available from our website. These are only a few of the possible use cases using QVital standalone or in conjunction with QEdge and QGlobal. Together, they are aimed at simplifying investing and bridging the gap between fundamental and technical trading, thereby adding more and more edges in favor of your trades. That is all that I wanted to share in today's session. Once again, thanks to all of you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in our next webinar and also in the weekly market roundups. We have regular weekly market roundups where we look at the market using QVital, QEdge, and QGlobal. You may register for those classes by clicking on this button accessible from Education Live Class page. I will be happy to answer any question that you may have. I thank you once again for taking time to join me today. You may ask questions now, or you may feel free to send any questions you may have to the email address on this slide.
All right. Sagar, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you clearly,
Okay.
and I can see your screen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that presentation, Sagar, and to those of you watching the webinar. This QVital tool is pretty darn imperative to anyone that does work with fundamentals, and being a complete trader is very important. If you're a person that trades a few stocks, specifically, you know, the IBMs, the NVIDIAs, the Apples, being able to do a bottom-up approach and understand how it is performing within its sector, within its industry, at the glance of you know, just looking at one of these QVital charts and understanding exactly what that stock is doing and how it's performing versus its peers in that short a period of time is incredibly important. And it's so handy to be able to take that type of approach and then look at the chart and make your trading decision from there. You know, on the other hand, for individuals that do the top-down approach, it's incredibly important to be able to identify the sectors and break it down to finding a trade opportunity in that shorter period of time. Can be a little bit difficult sometimes with Zenith to put all that information together, but with QVital, you know, it really does pull everything together, as well as, you know, QGlobal. So one of the things that we wanted to do here was to go ahead and pull all of that together for you. So we are doing a special promotion, and you have to go to the link that is actually, I just put it in the chat right now. It's also on your screen right now. If you are a current Zenith subscriber, QVital does need Metastock Zenith. It's exclusive to that. So if you do have Zenith, what we've done is we've put together an offer for, actually it's $49. You will get QVital for 1 month. If you don't already have Metastock real time, we're going to go ahead and throw that in for a month for free, as well as the add-on that Sagar was using within Metastock RT, which is Q Global. Give you a month of that for free, as well as access to the advanced classes that he's going to be doing over the course of the next month to show you how to integrate both of these tools into your trading process. So it's $49, and you'll get a month of Q Vital, a month of Metastock Real Time, as well as a month of Q Global and access to all of the trainings. If you don't have Zenith, it's a very, very powerful tool. What we're going to do with this promotion is if you pay for 1 month, you'll get Metastock Zenith, you'll get Metastock Real Time if you don't already have it. You will get a month of Q Vital as well as a month of Q Global, and of course access to all the training classes that are going to be happening over the next month. So either scenario, you're going to have access to all the tools that you saw here today for a month to kind of start understanding how it can fit into your trading process and into taking on Sagar's methodology into your own process. Like I said, you do have to go to this link to be able to take advantage of that. I'll show you what the link looks like. So it's going to take you to this page. It's just superiorprofit.co/special-offer.html. If you go to that link, it's going to give you the two options right here at the top. So if you have Metastock Zenith, or if you don't, you'll be able to select one of these. Very easy. Also, feel free to email us or Superior Profit with any questions. I'll leave you here today with this special offer and this link on the screen. Doesn't look like we have any questions. So once again, I want to thank everyone for attending this webinar. If you do have questions, please feel free to contact us or Sagar. Go ahead and go to his website. There's plenty of information there that you can go through. Once again, thanks for attending this webinar. Sagar, thanks for speaking at it. And as always, guys, happy trading.